John Felt here. This is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing for June 7th, 2025. It's been really active over many parts of the central U.S. and even the East over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Will it be just as active this week? I'll let you know. Let's get started. Now, first off, I wanted to go through this May, and these are temperature departures, so anything here in blue was below normal, anything in the yellow was above normal. But I think what really stood out in May is how wet it was. Take a look at all the areas quite wet here, and green being the wettest for the period of May, so wettest on record. So that's a 131-year record, and those areas in green, so very wet May over the eastern and southeast U.S. Now, what about spring? Well, spring was over almost the entire, now this is meteorological, spring, March, April, May. You can see it was above normal over just about the entire U.S., but especially parts of Texas, Louisiana, and the mid-Atlantic region, unusually mild. And I see some dark red here, and that was the warmest on record. Now, as far as wet conditions, I see some green, parts of the Ohio River Valley, unusually wet, record wet, parts of Oklahoma, and overall quite a bit of blue over the central and eastern U.S., but very dry in the west. Now let's get back to, first of all, this week I wanted to sort of go through weather risk, and each day it looks like for the next 3 days we're going to have a chance of some severe storms. We have ongoing flooding and excessive rain, so I'll be talking about those risks in detail in the briefing. Now, as far as action spots go, last week we shifted from sort of the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley into the Central Plains, a more traditional tornado alley. You can see lots of hail reports, some wind reports, hail being pink, wind being yellow, and these are the tornadoes last week. Now, as far as heavy rain goes, southeast Kansas and Oklahoma, southwest Missouri really got hit again. Parts of South Florida had quite a bit of rain, and that's all due to this frontal boundary right here. Look at all these waves of low pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of these waves of low pressure enhances lift and causes rounds of thunderstorms and heavy rain. Now, temperature-wise, the clouds and rain and that upper low kept temperatures below normal in areas of green, blue, and purple. But look at the western U.S. Lots of records were set last week in California and parts of the western U.S. Hottest temperatures of the week, green being in the 70s and 80s, but down here in California we had temperatures above 105 in the desert southwest. So dew points which have been lagging are beginning to push into the 60s now over the middle part of the nation. 70s over the southeast, muggy conditions, so we're beginning to feel a little bit more like summer over many areas, especially from a dew point perspective. Our rivers, well, where we've had that heavy rain, tributaries are running quite high. We actually have moderate flooding, that's a couple spots in red. Everywhere else is minor flooding at this time. So let's take a look at the forecast. Well, we have a battle between this area of low pressure, that's indicated in blue, and this area of high pressure with the really hot weather. Right between these two, that gradient is where the action has been. Now, by later this week, you can see here we have an area of low pressure aloft. That's going to keep a cap on temperatures. But then by next week, take a look at the pattern shift. We have a strong ridge of high pressure pushing across the plains into the Midwest, upper Midwest, and that means much warmer, hotter, summer-like weather. And you can sort of see that transition. Let's sort of jump from right now, the next 5 days, the blue being cooler than normal, to June 17th through 22nd. Look how warm it is here. So big changes ahead, and I would describe it getting from sort of like a early to mid-spring weather pattern to a summer pattern. Now this is where we had the most rain over the last 30 days, and any of this purple here is over 8 inches of rain. And this is even 10 to 12 inches of rain in spots. And look how wet it's been in this axis, sort of right through here, southeast U.S., and then parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. So we don't need more rain in those areas. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have more heavy rain in Oklahoma and Texas and parts of the southeast U.S. Scattered areas, some heavier rain over the Midwest as well. Okay, and let's take a look at weeks 2, 3, and 4, just to give you sort of a big picture. That big area of hot weather, look at this, all the way through weeks 3 and 4. So we're looking at the Rockies and parts of the western U.S., parts of the plains, getting into summer-like weather, and that's going to go right through the rest of June. And here's our precipitation. It looks like maybe the south, central, and southeast will remain on the wet side with daily chances, or at least multiple chances a week of rain. And finally, just take a look here. This is our weather risk for this week. Some scattered severe storms and some excessive rain. Have a great week. Take care.